organic movement, a movement of truth, a movement of righteousness, a grassroots movement being made possible by each and every one of us that have made sacrifices and gather here today. But not just here, we're spreading across the oceans and into other lands. Canada contacted me a week ago to notify me they'll be joining the People's Revolution and host a picnic in Toronto today to join us in unison. Our picnic here in Brisbane is being live streamed all over the world, so let's give it up, not just for places like Townsville and Toronto who are joining the People's Revolution, but for all people all around the world who standing up as one against the tyranny we face as human race. Let's hear it, guys. I also want to give a special mention to the movement here in Southeast Queensland. The way our community has been pulling together over the last month has been phenomenal. It has truly been a great thing to witness, and I would like to sincerely thank everyone that has stepped up and is starting to help out now. There are too many names to mention, but you all know who you are. I was on the phone to a lady whom I'd never met to organise some flyers to be distributed. She had me on speakerphone and was in a park. As the story goes, my mum happened to be walking by. At that very minute, she heard my voice. She waited for the lady to hang up and heard her say, "See you, Tricky," and screamed in amazement, "That's my son!" Those two women had a good old laugh in the park, and to me, this is confirmation from the universe that everything has fallen into place just how it should be. To others, that would be called a coincidence, but I don't believe in coincidences. The universe drops signs for you, and when you learn to read and pick up on those signs, you can allow it to guide you along your journey, and that's an incredible thing. I would like to encourage everyone to start listening to the universe. And before we go any further, a big part of our problem is advertising and being able to reach our people. Look at the numbers today, it's a bit down than last time, isn't it? So with the help of a beautiful woman who has offered her free time to the cause, our website is just about finished, and in response to mass censorship on other social media platforms, we're building a database of our team. By doing this, we can ensure that regardless of censorship, we are always able to communicate with you and with each other, which is not only extremely important in this current climate, but you will be kept up to date with upcoming events and important information regarding the People's Revolution. So what I'm going to suggest is that everyone here and watching online at home pulls out their phones now, open their internet browser, and type this short link in, which I'll read out soon.
I'll get it when I watch the video.
Alright, everyone ready? It's E for Echo, E for Echo, P for Papa, U for Uniform, R for Romeo, L for Lima, .com. Put a slash in there. H for Hotel, D for Delta, S for Sierra, Y for Yankee, N for November, D for Delta. So that will bring up a form to fill out, and the postcode part is important so we have an idea of where our people are, so we can utilise and mobilise people in certain areas if we need to. We're not asking for your full address, just your postcode. So that address again is Echo, Echo, Papa, Uniform, Romeo, Lima.com / Hotel, Delta, Sierra, Yankee, November, Delta. What? Can't hear. You need a microphone. Oh, it's not working. I might have messed that one up. Try it again. Echo, Echo, Papa, Uniform, Romeo, Lima.com / Hotel, Delta, Sierra, Yankee, November, Delta. Alright, I'll get back to you with that one. Sorry to waste your time. Did it work? Yeah. No, alright, I'll sort it out later. Alright, I'd like everyone here. That doesn't make sense. I should have proofread this thing. Alright, I've got a very special announcement I have the privilege of being able to make today. Brothers and sisters, co-founding member and former lead vocalist of AC/DC, Brother Dave Evans. What are you clapping for? I might be saying something bad after this, has stated it would be a privilege and an honour to have this track played by the People's Revolution here today. And this is the type of an example of the ground we're making, guys. International attention. The title of the track is We Don't Dance to Your Song. I'll chuck it on there for you.
How do I make this the other way? What, has the camera facing you? No, I don't want to take it the way you, long shot. Oh, you just... can't see it. Should we turn around? Yeah, just turn around, yeah. I can go back. Oh, that's all right. You can't turn your phone while live. Excellent.
And we don't run from your guns. We won't jump and we won't be pushed. We don't dance to your song. I think we're gonna act like you. Don't you blind our eyes. I think we're gonna see like you. Get out of our face. Get off of our case. Ain't nothing that we want from you. We don't march to your drum. And we don't run from your guns. We don't jump and we won't be pushed. We don't dance to your song. No, we don't dance to your song. Don't you rant and rave, 'cause maybe we don't wanna be saved. Don't you scream and shout, we won't ever listen to what you say. And we won't crack, so take a step back. Ain't gonna do what you want us to. We don't march to your drum, and we don't run from your guns. We don't jump, and we won't be pushed. We don't dance to your song. No, we don't dance to
Guys, I'd like to encourage everyone to support those that support us, and Dave Evans is one of them. Right, guys, it's business time. I'd like to officially open the Brisbane Peaceful Picnic Part 4, and as you can already tell, it's going to be a very special day. I'd like to start by acknowledging and thanking the original land custodians for the beautiful way they were able to look after this land and the people for 100,000 years before European influence and corruption spread across the land like poison. And that isn't a shot at Europeans or a racist remark. It's simply the truth. I was born here on this land myself. Both my parents were born in Sri Lanka. One of my parents was born in Uganda. And I have European ancestry in my blood. Many people ask if I'm Indigenous, and my reply is yes. I am Indigenous to the world, and that is how we all should feel. For there is only one race, the human race. Invisible lines and oceans may separate us, but we are all connected in a very powerful way, not just to each other and all living things, but to the earth too. The earth provides us with life and nurtures us, and we must relearn to nurture it in return if we are to have a chance at succeeding in a peaceful and prosperous life. Guys, before I hand you over to Yarika for a more traditional acknowledgement, I would like to ask everyone to join as one in a minute of silence, aimed at remembering all those that have made the ultimate sacrifice while protecting the people. The soldiers that have fought in wars, although powerful banking families have set up these wars and funded both sides in almost every single war for the last 300 years for a hidden sinister agenda and self-promotion, self-gain. Our frontline emergency personnel, including the ambulance, the firefighters, and the police. Now, as I've mentioned the police, I would like to also mention that I received a call from the police negotiators yesterday. In our previous rallies, all of which have been unauthorised and unpermitted in the eyes of the authorities, the police have refused to block the streets for our walk through the city. On this phone call yesterday, we were able to do some negotiating, as I'd like to call it. And they have agreed to block off the streets so we can walk in one big group and get the job done as a single unit. So I would like to sincerely thank the Queensland Police Service for coming to the party once again and working with us. Cheers, boys. In terms of police here in Queensland, we hands down have the best police in Australia, and I think that deserves a round of applause. The minute's silence is also dedicated to our First Nations people and activists, but also to those that will make the ultimate sacrifice in the future while protecting our future generations and the planet. Brothers and sisters, please join me for a minute's silence. Thanks very much, guys. I'm now passing on to Sister Yarika.
Waramuli Aniganiantan, Amuampa Yaraka Yubanango, Duncan Banjalang Wanarua, Pintankan Birigaba and Gangalu, and Kaikal Yagara and Turrbal. Or in English, hello everyone. My name is Yaraka. Just to be able to do that acknowledgement in my mum's language, the Wanneroo people of the Hunter Valley in beautiful northern or central New South Wales also acknowledged her Bunjalung heritage. She was also a very feisty Aboriginal Irish woman. I acknowledge my father's people, the Birigubba and Gungaloo people of central Queensland. But most of all, following proper protocol, we always pay our respects to the local people. That's a very ancient diplomatic protocol. When people do that acknowledgement, we want people to know why we do it. It's got nothing to do with being politically correct, and as I've announced many times before, each and every one of you have that opportunity to be able to continue a very ancient diplomatic cultural protocol just by acknowledging whose land we're on, because I'm a visitor to this country. This is Yagara and Turrbal country. On the south side of the Brisbane River, we have the Yagara people, and on the north side, we have the Turrbal people. Very important that we remember who we are and where we come from and pay our respects to the caretakers, because just by sitting here gathering in this beautiful botanic gardens, this is exactly what the Yagara and Turrbal people have been doing for hundreds and thousands of years. So we are continuing a very ancient diplomatic cultural protocol just by being here today. And you know what? It doesn't matter how many people turn up. What matters is we keep turning up. So thank you to each and every single one of you. I've got a huge announcement to make, and I am so bloody happy that today I'm here with my brother Mark and my sister Simone and their beautiful family, especially my nephew Chase. He's free, so 3 cheers for Chase. A bit hooray! A bit hooray! A bit hooray! And I have to acknowledge this epitome of a power couple, because they've paved the way. Not only my ancestors and my ancestors and our elders, but the freedom fighters and the truthers like Mark and Sinai that have proven to the whole world that when we stand up and we fight and we don't give up, this is the outcome. We have a family restored. So I really want Mark and Sinai to come up. If you can, please just come and say a couple of words, or just come and stand here to give me some strength and inspiration, because I draw my strength from people like this. These two, I'm going to try not to get emotional, but fighting with them every step of the way, even when I didn't know what to do. Sometimes all I could do was just rock up and cook a feed for them. Travelling from New South Wales to Queensland, sometimes I felt so hopeless, but I'm glad that we've connected. We may not be blood relatives that I'm aware of, but you never know about that, that we could pass. But I just want to be able to give my personal thanks, not only from me, but from my family, because I tell you what, I stand here today in 2020 as a 38-year-old First Nations woman, and I am the first generation in my family not to be stolen. And people think that colonisation happened 200 years ago. My mum was removed. That's a nice word. They call it the stolen generation. Exactly what happened to Chase has been happening to children and people in this country for the last 250 years since this country was invaded. But this is what fighting for your rights and your family looks like. I'm going to try not to swear and get emotional, but I just want to say, Mark, my brother, I love you. Sinai, I love you so much. Thank you.
If no one knows the story, it was a 3.5 years battle, and Supreme Court and Children's Court. And as much as you don't know me, I'm dyslexic, and I took on the Supreme Court and Children's Court by myself, self-represented. Where there is love, there is hope, and there is hope we can change anything. We have to stand together. We all have the biggest hearts, and the biggest thing out of this I learned was everything you do has to be love. Has to do with love. You have to do everything with love and just give your kindness. that's all you do. They can't turn around and say anything if you just show love. And that's what their downfall was with us, because like Yarka said, and a lot of people would understand, anyone with a disabled children, you don't make it as a couple, really. It's very hard to. And that going through having your child, knowing he's disabled, then going from that to having a child stolen, I think it comes to a point where that's where we found love, because I thank everyone that followed our story and Chase and gave love every day, even just that one thought. I was not even aware of a spiritual connection. I knew there was something, but when you guys gave love every day and prayers and just shining the light, I so many times wanted to give up all my writing documents from 10 o'clock in the night till 6 o'clock in the morning every day. But it was knowing that there was so much love given to me. I don't know how I did it. I really don't. But I did every document myself, and it comes to a point where it was all you guys. And this is what it comes. We all stand together. Like Yara said, keep coming, because it's freedom. Because at the end of the day, you don't keep coming, it's your grandchildren coming. Because freedom sits down low and it keeps procrastinating, manifesting, until we want to be free, we want to have our rights. And not just rights because the government said we can have them. We're spiritual beings on this planet, and we have the right to be here together and have no judgment and no authority to try change any rules to make us feel different. You know, having a mask on, we were gagged. That's why we've been out this first 2 years of restoration, all right? So we were gagged. You know, signed off last night, full parental responsibility back. So at the end of the day, I know what a Muslim is. We love you, and I'm so thankful. And I know Chase came out of this stronger, not just because of us as our family, but our family unit. And everyone stands together, the community unit. Thank you. Every time I get up here, you know, I don't have notes to read. I pray to our old people, to our ancestors, to guide us with the strength and the wisdom to say how I'm feeling, even though no words could describe that. But I think what's important is that we remember that we're on sovereign land. This is unceded territory. We never signed into an agreement in 1788 when those ships came over. Everywhere you walk in this country is sacred land. And I've just come back from a 2-week trip with our elders up in Northern Territory, East Arnhem Land. And we met an old uncle, 100 years old, Jalu. He is begging. He says, we've been waiting for you, meaning us, the next generation. They're waiting. Our old people are waiting. He says, our waters are drying up. Our country is dying. But you know what? It isn't dying. We aren't dying. We are being killed. That's what's happening. I've got so many calls of friends and family members that have suicided. And my heart breaks for them. I send my love and all our prayers to our family and friends all over the world that are dealing with sorry business, that are grieving. Out of what? For what? I woke up this morning and saw another sister passed away. And it just seems that that is the real epidemic. That's what we're fighting. You know, and I look at every sign here. I can't reiterate enough each and every single one. And it's so powerful to be able to join and to come somewhere with other like-minded peoples. But from our people in our community, you know, I feel like it's a huge pressure because I don't see many other First Nations or Indigenous people. I would love to be able to see them here playing Didge, doing their corroboree, welcoming you onto country proper way, our old sacred ways. I would love to be able to see our Pacific Island brothers and sisters coming and doing the haka or, you know, their traditional dances. But you know what I'm hearing? We're too scared. We don't want to be deported. So that, and you know what? That was me for a long time, being bound by fear because I've got child safety on my ass. Yet it's Mark and Sinai that taught me you can stand up and fight and you can win. So I ain't going to let fear hold me back anymore from speaking my mind. And I can only pray that each and every single one of you here today, I'm here representing my family, the 3 generations, me, my children, and my granddaughter. We'll keep rocking up. You know, this is our 4th one from King George Square to the 3rd one here in Botanic Gardens today.
We will keep rocking up. And if my parents and grandparents were alive, you would see 5 generations of healthy, unvaccinated First Nations people that are still fighting for freedom and justice in this country. I got this shirt from our travels up north, and this is exactly what our people have been fighting for in this country since it was illegally stolen. We are standing on stolen land, as I mentioned. We've been fighting for self-determination. We've been fighting against this corrupt government. So it feels good. As I said, the last rally, you know, there's nothing new that I can say but I'm so much more happy today because our voices are being heard all around the world. Yes. Our voices are being heard, so we cannot give up. That is the obligation we have as humans, not only for our children, for our grandchildren, but for future generations, for even the people that, like this poor young sister here that came along and said, COVID is real. You know, I pray for those people and I pray that they have the awakening. And I know that they feel sorry for us, thinking, look at all of us loonies here thinking that COVID isn't real. Wow, we're crazy. I pray for them because I know one day they'll see the truth. They'll see what's really going on in this world. But it's very, it's easy to sit back in your comfort zone and think, oh, there's no pedophilia, this can't be happening, this sacrifice and, you know, all of these political corruption, it can't be real. I thought that too, until I witnessed, and I've been living it and seeing it, not only through my parents' eyes and my grandparents, but I'm now experiencing all the issues my parents and grandparents warned me about. I'm at risk of having my child stolen over my dead body, but they do keep trying. But it's people like Mark and Sinai, Tay's Way, Stevie and Tay, the Wintersteins, too many people to name that have been giving us encouragement to be able to stand our ground, stand in our truth and our power and speak without the fear of the consequences or, you know, something going wrong. And it takes a lot to be able to get up here. I feel really vulnerable right now, but I know that I'm standing on the shoulders of giants like my parents and grandparents and all of our ancestors. Why we're all here? Because we're fighting for the greater good of humanity. The people is with the power is with the people. I love the sign, free speech, free choice, freedom. All of those signs, that's exactly why we're here. We're going to keep coming back. So again, thank you to Tricky. Thank you to all the people behind the scenes that make something like this possible. I wish I would be able to see more of my own people and representation here, but it's so good to see people are still turning up. So on behalf of my family and community, thank you to each and every single one of you. We won't stop because our children and our future generations count on it. It's their lives at risk, and that's why we fight. Your way.
Right, I've got that link working now, guys, so if you can all pull out your phone once more, let's go through that quickly, because how do we go from like 5,000 people down to this in a matter of less than a month? Obviously our advertising sucks, so let's get on top of that. So it is E for Echo, E for Echo, P for Papa, U for Uniform. I feel like I'm doing bingo up here. R for Romeo, L for Lima.com / H for Hotel, D for Delta, then in capital letters, S for Sierra, Y for Yankee, N for November, D for Delta. Try that out. Yeah. Winner, winner! Just save it in your favourites, guys. You don't have to fill it out now, but save it in your favourites and pass it along to all your friends and build up the database. So I was sitting on the beach writing this speech, enjoying the sun with my family on Minjarrabah. Minjarrabah is the indigenous name for the world's second largest sand island that many refer to as Stradbroke Island. I was sitting there writing this speech and I realised that this is the first holiday I've been on all year. Last time I was on a plane was down to Melbourne in December of last year. I wasn't there for a holiday, however. My brother was murdered last year, and in December I flew down to witness the committal hearing. When I entered the courtroom, I looked at defendants in the eye, and when they worked out who I was, their gaze dropped to the floor. Now I've had to forgive these guys. I've had to find it in my heart to examine the situation and be real. I know these guys didn't bust in with a plan to murder someone, but things got out of hand and the trigger was pulled. Unfortunately, my brother was an innocent party in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he left behind 5 beautiful children, all aged under 16 years old. The defendants have 6 barristers, 6 lawyers and a couple of solicitors working for them, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to defend their guilt, not realising that their true punishment will come in the form of karma. I feel sorry for these guys because when karma strikes, it doesn't miss its target. But I forgive them for their actions because we all need to move forward. We are taught forgiveness in our younger lives, and it makes perfect sense. Without finding forgiveness for others, we will unknowingly hold on to grudges and negative emotions, which in turn will stop our own progress. If we slow our own progress, we slow our progress as a group. So please, for not only the sake of your own well-being, but for the sake of all those around you, please dig deep, face those emotions, and find forgiveness in your heart. While we must face evil and recognise it as being real, we mustn't allow it to consume us. Now that doesn't mean ignoring it. It means facing it, comprehending the situation, and then no longer giving it your energy, but focusing on the positive solution that will take us forwards. And to speak more on this topic, who I haven't seen today, I would like to invite Amanda up onto the stage. I have seen her. This looks very different.
Hi everybody, I'm Amanda. My little speech is about shining light on the darkness. Since the beginning of time there have been the polarities of light and dark, good and evil, right and left, up and down. Mankind has perpetually struggled with the shadow self, being called to face the dark night of the soul. It is the nature of reality to have 2 opposing polarities. It is also the nature that seeks to strike balance. And this is where mankind has fallen. We no longer have balance and haven't for quite some time. Those of the light have become complacent, apathetic, and much too trusting. Many righteous souls have proverbially buried their heads in the sand, pretending that the darkness is non-existent. Many have not dared to question the status quo, nor think for themselves. The whole co-opted CIA psychological operation of the 1960s, heralding in the New Age movement, went a long way towards this end. Don't give evil the time of day and it will go away. Don't get angry or frustrated. These tenets of the so-called spiritual factions of society are what have actually allowed and even encouraged the darkness to encroach. Mark Passio of the What on Earth is Happening website talks about the sacred gift of anger and righteous indignation. For too long we have allowed the darkness to creep in, to grow, to take over our world. We have remained in silence and blind ignorance while the tentacles of this massive beast has infiltrated every conceivable nook and cranny within society, from banking to finance to education and medical institutions, to governments and justice departments, to entertainment and music industry, and to the very food we eat, water we drink, and the air that we breathe. Every facet of human life has been infiltrated and muddied by the multi-headed hydra. Everything we have ever been taught since incarnating here has been a lie and flipped on its head. Up is down, right is left, good is evil, truth is a lie. Everything. We don't even know the true nature of the place we call Mother Earth or why we are even here. All efforts to get to the truth have been obfuscated. The words of Michael Elner have never rung truer. Everything is backwards. Everything is upside down. Doctors destroy health. Lawyers destroy justice. Psychiatrists destroy minds. Scientists destroy the truth. Mainstream media destroys information. Religion destroys spirituality. And governments destroy freedom. This is as much a spiritual warfare as it is a physical battle. As the scriptures of the Ephesians 6:12 tells us, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. No matter your religious or spiritual leanings, we must all come together to fight this common enemy. For far too long, the evil ones have gotten away with dividing and conquering. We need to see through this tactic and unite and stand as one. It is okay to get angry as long as we transmute that anger into the fire in our bellies and use it to stand up against tyranny and evil forces. It is okay to look at the darkness, point it out and expose it. As long as we shine our light bright, darkness cannot exist in the light. Unfortunately, the light can be dimmed, even snuffed out by the darkness. That is why we find ourselves here at this time. For far too long, we have been operating in load shedding, dim-wittedness and meekness of heart. It is time to flick the switch, to ignite our flames, to turn on the floodlights. Our hearts are electric and magnetic. Let us fire up our hearts to full capacity. Thank you. There are many ways in which we can take back our world and stand in our power. Staying strong is key, which means eating healthy organic whole foods, drinking pure, non-chemical laden water, exercising body and brain, meditating, getting out in nature and living and getting into the life-giving sun. Feeding our soul is also vitally important. This means being of service to others, having gratitude, being kind to all creatures great and small, taking up the mantle of true custodianship of Mother Earth and Father Sky. But most importantly, it is learning to truly love and forgive all souls, even the evil ones. Just as the darkness cannot exist in the light, evil cannot exist in the presence of love. This is the 0 point, the collapse of polarities, the joining of opposites. This is where we truly become one. The greatest lesson we as men, women, boys and girls need to know is to know thyself. When we truly know who and what we are, then we are able to step into our full potential and our full power. Power to the people. Come on with me. Power to the people. Power to the people. Power to the people. Right on. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Amanda, for that insight. Guys, we've had a small win in Victoria, with dictator Dan and his communist buddies redacting part of the dubious COVID-19 Omnibus Amendment Bill. The specific section I refer to states that the government would be allowed to make anyone an authorised officer, and that these authorised officers would have the power to arrest people on the basis that they feel a certain individual would be likely to break emergency directions in the future. Fucking kidding me. Let me say that again. The proposed bill would allow our brothers and sisters to be arrested if it was deemed that they might possibly break a direction in the future. Let's get a boo on with 1, 2, 3, hey? 1, 2, 3! That's beyond ludicrous, and it reminds me of a Tom Cruise movie I saw as a kid where the police had a machine that would predict crimes and they would arrest people before it happened. In other words, BS. The fact that this was being proposed should be alarming for us all. In saying that, there was a lot of people putting pressure on the Victorian government, and they succumbed to this pressure and had to redact part of the bill. So this is proof that if we make it known we will not accept the tyranny, then we can force the hand and make changes will need to be made to the plans. But we do also need the support of professionals in law, in other professional avenues, guys. We can't do this all by ourselves. While the CDC has admitted that only 6% of the cases that they claimed were deaths from COVID-19, the Queensland authorities have just extended their emergency powers to December 31. 1, 2, 3. 6 supposed deaths from COVID-19 in 10 months, and we are still under emergency powers due to a supposed pandemic. 1, 2, 3. Brothers and sisters, I have a very special guest for you today to speak to you about these issues. Will you please make welcome onto the stage the one and only Max Egan.
Wow, it's high up here. Crazy. I have no idea what I'm going to say, folks. How are you all enjoying the new normal? It's pretty good, eh? If anyone hasn't figured out this is a hoax yet, I mean, well, you can't really say it's a hoax. We're kind of falling down with that. Coronavirus isn't a hoax. Coronaviruses exist in all of our body. What this is a massive and monumental fraud, a provable fraud. And there's actually a class action that's been started by a German solicitor by the name of Dr. Rainer Fuhrmann. Get involved with that, folks. This is an international class action that we can use against these criminals masquerading as politicians that have taken control of the government in this country. This government in this country, folks, the laws that they're putting in place, as announced by Jeff Kennett recently, there are 28 suppression orders for pedophiles in the federal parliament in Australia. You think about that one, yeah. 28 suppression orders. You might think, oh, that means only 28 of them are pedophiles. Well, the rest of them voted for the suppression orders as well. You know, it's one big club. That's who's making these rules, folks. And what we've got here is it's not even a case-demic, it's a test-demic that we've got. The PCR tests, these PCR tests cannot identify COVID. All they do is amplify genetic material. The CDC themselves have admitted that they don't have any live samples of the virus. They've never done a Koch's postulate on it. They can't show you any of the virus because it isn't available. Because it doesn't exist. It's not available. There's been no proof that it even exists. And they've just created this whole scamdemic by mass testing with these PCR tests. And here in Australia, when you look at the death figures in Australia, when you look at the comparative rates, we've actually got more chance of being struck by lightning than you have of dying of COVID-19 in Australia, according to the official figures. And that's even with them fabricating the figures the way they are. And all the deaths are people in nursing homes in their 80s. Do you know what the average lifespan is in Australia? The average life expectancy in Australia is 82. 82. What a great scam. You get people who are dying anyway of comorbidities, you identify a virus which is in everybody, and you call it a pandemic. And that's what they've done. And the real pandemic that's sweeping around the world is fascism. You know, and we're facing the greatest spiritual test we've ever faced here. That's really what this is. We've been given a choice because we're heading into a Hunger Games type of society. You know, a lot of people are going to take it. A lot of people are going to go with the vaccines. A lot of people are going to take this. And getting into the vaccines, I mean, don't even get me started on that. You know, if you look at the vaccines, look at hydrogel, look at some of the studies they've done on this. I mean, the vaccine is really what it's all about. They already had the vaccine ready. That's why they've created this whole pandemic. I suppose everybody here has gone and looked at the World Economic Forum. You looked at that, you looked at the mind map they've got there. It goes over 200 layers deep. They tell you in their introductory video that the COVID response plan is a plan that's been in the making for 50 years. 50 years. So how can this be some sort of new virus, new pandemic? They're actually looking at the World Health Organization website, the UN websites. They had the COVID test kits going out for sale. They patented them in 2015. They were going out for sale all around the world in 2017. And the virus wasn't discovered until 2019, apparently. But hasn't the world changed? I mean, think about it, you know, way back in when the fires were burning. The whole country was on fire, like way back in January. Look at what's happened since then. It's crazy. The whole world has just gone into this complete meltdown. And we're heading into a really strange time, folks. Everything that's happened over the last 8 months has just been to kind of prepare us for what we're going to head into now. We're heading into some really strange economic times over the next 3 to 9 months. And everybody needs to prepare for that. I mean, the US economy is going to go down. It has to go down. You can't pump $7 trillion in stimulus into the US economy and not have it go down. When the US economy goes down, the world economy is going to go down and everything's going to change. You know, and what we've got to do is realise what's going on here. It's a massive fraud. There are 27,000 doctors around the world now that are saying this is a fraud. There are doctors in New Zealand, doctors in Australia, doctors in Germany launching class actions. There are so many people now. The only thing that's really perpetuating this is the media. And the government are falling over themselves and stumbling. I mean, they can't admit what they've done because they'd be, you know, taken out and lynched. I mean, what Daniel Andrews has done, he would be absolutely lynched if people realise what a massive fraud he's committed. I mean, every person in a nursing home who's died in Victoria has been virtually murdered by proxy by Daniel Andrews. By cutting them off from the services that they need. All the people that have not gone to hospitals and been denied medical care because they were scared to go to hospitals over a massive fraud. A provable, quantifiable fraud. That's the thing. So even when we're talking about this and we're saying, oh, COVID's a hoax, it's a wrong word. It's the wrong word. It's not a hoax, it's a fraud. It's a massive fraud. And we need to get our semantics right and get our language right with people. But the best thing we can do still at the moment is to continue spreading information, waking people up, leading by example in what we do. When you find information such as has anyone seen the video by Dr. Fulmick, the Crimes Against Humanity video? It's gone pretty viral. When you find videos like that, and you find videos by people such as Andrew Kaufman, who explains the PCR tests, a New Zealand doctor, Dr. Sam Bailey, who explains how the PCR tests work. When you find this information, you need to send it on to the health minister. Send it on to the Premier, send it to the Chief of Police, and just let them know, we know, this is what's going on, we know what you're doing. This is the information we've got access to, and we're sending it to you now so that we know that you know. Because when this class action launches internationally, we're going to put you in the firing line. That's what we have to do, folks. We've really got to start using their system against themselves. There's no way to stage some sort of big revolution sort of thing. What we need to do is just get a bit of responsibility in ourselves. Realise that, you know, we've got criminals that are taking over our government. Like I said, we've got 28 pedophiles, 28 suppression orders for pedophiles in federal parliament. That's who's writing the rules. So how are any of the rules valid? You know, and the whole government incorporated in 1973 anyway. When you look at Scott Morrison's speech, his acceptance speech, when he swore allegiance to Her Majesty. Her Majesty? What is that? You don't stumble over your words in an acceptance speech. You repeat the sentence and say it properly. He did say it properly. Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth, Queen of Australia, a woman who doesn't exist. It's a corporate entity. You know, so we've got to realise what's going on here. And this is one of the greatest opportunities that we've ever had for freedom. That's really what this is when you look at it. It's an opportunity for people to see the writing on the wall. I mean, they've red-pilled most of the world with this. When you see the size of the protests in Europe, the size of the protests in Spain, in Germany, in the UK, it's amazing really to see how many people are getting this. So, we can't drop the ball on it, folks. We've got to keep pushing, and we've got to be sharing the information with the politicians and with the health ministers and with these people as well, just to let them know that we know, because it really does help doing that sort of a thing. Great to see you all here today. Sorry I didn't get to the last one. I had car trouble. That's just the way it was. Everything could have happened to stop me getting here. But that's the way it is. So here I am today anyway. But thanks for coming, folks. That's about all I need to say on that. The difference is going to be made by you people. It's going to be made on the ground, grassroots action on the ground. I put up signs everywhere I go to. Every time I see someone wearing a mask, I say, "You look lovely today, smile for me." And I say, you know that's bad for you, don't you? You know it's all going completely against medical science. There's actually no medical science to show that wearing masks actually helps. Actually, all medical science shows it actually damages your health. If you wear a mask, they've done studies on doctors in surgery for over 2 hours that are supposed to perform long surgery with surgical masks on. They found it deoxygenates them, it causes hypoxia, it causes a loss of concentration, and if you're over 35 years of age, after 2 hours of wearing a mask, it will begin to deplete the calcium levels in your bones. These are peer-reviewed medical studies. I'd like to know, when Daniel Andrews and all these people are saying, yeah, the science says so, what science? Please show me what science you're referring to, because you can't be referring to any medical science, because all the medical science says you're full of shit. That's all we need to look at, folks. But anyway, thanks for listening. Pleasure to come and talk to you. In the cash, folks.
Thank you, Max. It was a pleasure to listen to you speak. So now we dedicated the 1 minute silence in part to past soldiers that have lost their lives fighting in wars that they thought were being fought for our freedoms. I know if I gave my life while protecting the freedoms of my people, I sure would be very disappointed, to say the least, to see my people bound down to oppression based on a common cold. Brothers and sisters, we have a war veteran here with us today to speak on this some more. Please welcome Bernard Gaynor to the stage.
G'day ladies and gentlemen, can you hear me? Yes! Can you hear me? Yes! I'm Bernie Gaynor and I served in the Australian Army for just over 15 years. I deployed to Iraq 3 times, spent a bit of time in Afghanistan. I was awarded the United States Meritorious Service Medal in 2009 for operational service. So I know what it is like to put my life on the line to defend freedom, and I know what tin pot dictators look like. And we have them here in Australia. In fact, we have them right here in Queensland. They have told us 3 lies over the past few months about the situation we're currently in. The first lie is that we are living in a time of crisis. That is a complete lie. So about 890 people in Australia, we've been told, have died with coronavirus, not of coronavirus, with coronavirus. Just to put that in some context, last year, you can find this on the federal government websites, just over 700 people died of the flu. This is not a crisis. Let me tell you what a crisis looks like. In 1914, there were about 4.5 million Australians. That means there are about just over 2 million men. There were just over 1 million men of fighting age. 400,000 of those men put on a uniform. Think about that. That is 1 in 3 men of a working age put on a uniform. 300,000 of those men went overseas. 200,000 of those men were killed or wounded. That's 1 in 6, give or take, working age men. That is a crisis. What we have today is not a crisis. It is a lie that we live in a time of crisis. The second lie we've been told is that our leaders Anastasia Palaszczuk and the other premiers in our federal government are pro-life. They are locking us down because they want to save lives. Nothing could be further from the truth. Our Premier here, Anastasia Palaszczuk, yes, she deserves a boo, has legalised abortion up until the day of birth. This is a woman who says that she's pro-life. Nothing could be further from the truth. It is a lie that they are interested in protecting lives. The third lie they've told us is that they're pro-choice. They're not pro-choice. They're pro-deciding what you can and can't do. That's why down in Victoria, they couldn't leave their home for more than an hour a day. They couldn't move more than 5 kilometres from their home. They're not pro-choice. They're not interested in giving you a choice to decide what risks you want to take, whether you want to be at your parents' or your grandparents' bedside while they're dying. No, you can't do that. You have to stay at home. So this is not a crisis. They are not interested in saving lives, and they're only interested in taking away your choice because it gives them more power. And we know what's coming. We know that this vaccine, we've been told, will be as mandatory as possible. Just this week, the Commonwealth Government provided an indemnity to the vaccine makers so that if people get side effects from the vaccine, they won't be able to take any action against it. We can see what's coming. So as someone who's gone overseas to fight for freedom for this nation, I am very, very disappointed to see our freedom to even leave our homes, to associate with our relatives, to enjoy our lives has been taken away here in Australia. It is a disgrace.
Guys, our current situation is this. The control measures being imposed onto us is doing many more times damage than the virus itself. Not only have small businesses gone bankrupt and closed, not only have people lost their jobs, their income and therefore their homes, but suicide as a direct result of lockdowns has taken many more lives than the so-called virus itself. To speak on this, next up, you have a gentleman named Jason Reynolds. Make him welcome.
Hello? How are you all? Some old faces in the crowd. Hope you're enjoying the day in the sun. I'm going to be speaking into a topic today that I put my neck out probably about a month or so now ago to talk into this topic because I felt no one was really giving it the attention that it needed. It's not an easy topic to talk into. I think at any particular time in our life, when we choose to live, when we choose to expand, when we choose to go into places that we haven't been before, when we choose to expose ourselves, I think we all have thoughts and considerations of our own mortality. For me, I believe that's a healthy thing. I think what is difficult, what is degenerative in this world, is when these thoughts, these feelings are held within us. I have much to say today about the current situation, but it's not my focus. I am concerned, however, that many of us start to think, and our society has started to believe, that our immune system has somehow become compromised. That we as individuals are susceptible to things even like vaccines. We become a victim of science, not an understanding on how to activate what we are. I believe the freedom that we seek has not been taken from us. It's been given away. Whilst we continue to maintain our ignorance and our arrogance to what we truly are, we'll continue to be controlled by those around us. Those that have become so organised, so sinister, But whilst we continue to blame, whilst we continue to focus upon that, nothing will change. We get caught in the loop. And I was asked before I got up here today to make sure that I have a positive thing to say. But I'm not sure this topic is going to lend me to that. But I'm going to do my best. Suicide is something that has become not only evident, but nearly accepted in society. We've got to question the society that we live in, that people choose to end their life. What is it within each of us that contributes to that? Because it's not the people that are dying, it's not the people around them that are affected. It's those that continue to look the other way. This is a problem that we all face. It's a condition of the culture, the society that we live in. And to me, the solution is extremely simple. It's basic. It doesn't require a vaccine. It doesn't require science. It doesn't require a government. It doesn't require freedom. It requires an ability to be able to listen. But not just listen, but listen with the intention to understand. Now, this is the most simple thing that we all have. This is where we feel love. This is where we feel connection to other people. Where we don't feel like that we have to butt in and put our point across. Where we can start to hold space. It is within our own self that we've maybe forgotten to do this as well. To start to consider, to stand up. Not to oppose, but to create. For many of us, we continue to keep pointing the finger. But it's not until we recognize not who we are, but what we are, that we can start to make a change. I ask each of you just to stop, especially as parents, and consider what it actually means to not have plans for your children. To not be directing them, to not be considering they're part of your reputation. To start to actually look into your own self and start to learn from the next generation. Because that is exactly what they're here for. To humble us, to allow us to listen. They are unadulterated. We are adulterated. We are the ones that have to let go of what we think we know in order to move into a new place. I don't believe that we're going to do that by opposing a government. I believe that we do that when we understand how to utilise what we have within us each and every moment. When we become unaffected by vaccines, by science, by 5G, these things only affect us if we're disintegrated within our own self. So for suicide, take the time. Stop and listen. Are you okay day is not are you okay. It's not about a phone call. It's not about a check-in. It's about sitting and listening and holding space for another individual so that they can feel understood. That's what all of us are here for. For me, I think this is not just a critical issue. It's not about a death toll. It's about a situation that exists within each of us. It's about confronting and owning our own ignorance, our own corruption, our own censorship. Stop putting it at the feet of someone else and expecting for them to change. It's not going to change. We'll continue to be disempowered, waiting for those that are proven to control us in a way that we've allowed. This is a confrontation, and I can suggest going forward, lives will be lost, and they continue to be lost each and every day. But until we start moving towards something that we can embrace and create, the people that oppose this don't want to be told that they're stupid. They don't want to be told that they're being manipulated. They want to be told that they're gullible. They want to be inspired to come into a space of creation. Something different, something unique. I'll leave that with you. I missed out on the positive part. But the main thing today is I really believe it all starts with understanding. We've got to stop looking for wisdom. We've got to stop looking for answers. We have them all. Start from a place of being complete and find understanding. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Jason. I truly believe if we are going to be able to live in a peaceful, prosperous land, it must be done in conjunction and cooperation with the indigenous of the land. And there are operations taking place behind the scenes between on-site barristers, heads of political parties and First Nation elders to achieve this goal. Now guys, we have come to a very special part of the day. It's going to involve everyone here today and those watching at home too. There is talk of a very special day at the end of this year, 21/12 to be exact. It also involves our Indigenous tribes and sacred Uluru. Uluru has been described as a powerful living force that must be maintained and cared for. It has been used for traditional ceremonies and rites of passages for tens of thousands of years. On Monday, the 21st December 2020 at 9:04 PM Australian Central Time, elders will be holding a ceremony at Uluru. While I don't have the exact inside details as of yet, I have been told that a certain amount of spiritual energy is needed to make the ceremony a success. So I propose that together, right here, right now, we perform a mass meditation for 3 or 4 minutes to help set our intentions early and prepare ourselves, each other and the earth for what is to come on 21/12. Now I'm sure this will be right up some people's alleys, while the thought of meditation will make some people uncomfortable. That's fine. I would like to encourage everyone that is feeling reserved right now or a little unsure to please drop the barriers and join your brothers and sisters as one in setting our intentions as a collective force of positive energy. There was a study conducted in America between 2007 and 2010 in which a large group met frequently and practiced transcendental meditation with a focus on lowering the crime rate in Washington. The result was a 20% drop in crime over those 3 years. There have been other similar studies achieving the same sort of results. For anyone that practices meditation, they know it works, on the very least at a deep personal level. I would like to invite everyone now to sit or stand in silence and close their eyes. Envision Uluru. Envision it with glowing roots that spread across our land, giving life to all that these roots touch. Envision our children of the future, living happily with each other and in peace with the earth. Keep these images in your head and feel free to switch between them whenever you feel. Uluru, its beautiful roots streaming and glowing deep into the earth and spreading across our land. Our children and unborn future generations smiling happily, peacefully. brothers and sisters, I'd like to encourage you to carry something similar out periodically leading up to 2112. Only good things can come from it. And to those that are of the opinion that meditation and prayer do not work, well, you've got a lot of soul searching to do. You've got to do it fast because we're running out of time. The spirit world is real, and it is alive, and it is well. Believe me when I say this, it is the most powerful thing that I've ever experienced, and I'm sure many others will agree. Guys, our next guest, familiar guest I should say, Brother Paul Seals, has requested some introduction music. I think he still thinks he has a shot in the WCW. The name of the track is Your Country by a local man named William Crichton.
Thank you. That's William Crichton's new track, if you haven't heard it yet, called My Country. And thank you for William for giving us his blessings to play that track. Check him out on Spotify. As Tristan said, my name's Paul Seals. I run some alternate media called Messages from the Underground. So I want to start with this for you. It's really quite short and sweet, but it really speaks into the theme and the thread that each of these days and events seem to quite have running through them. Hello, family.
Hello.
In the midst of this fiasco, you may have missed this news and story that I want to share with you from several months ago. That a World War II hero was finally awarded the Australia's highest military honour, the Victoria Cross, on the 12th of August 2020, 78 years after going down with guns blazing with his ship. History is filled with tales of heroism and self-sacrifice, but that of an 18-year-old Australian, Edward Teddy Sheehan, stands out amongst them. his shipmates reported in the battle that they could see the bullets from the teenager's machine gun whizzing up through the water as he went down with his ship firing to the last. An order was given to abandon ship. Sheehan was wounded, and rather than abandon ship, he strapped himself into the anti-aircraft gun and began to engage with attacking aircraft even as the ship sunk beneath him. He shot down 2 planes, and crewmates recall seeing traces coming from beneath the surface as Sheehan was dragged under the water, firing until the end. I do not share this story to glorify war. As Tricky mentioned, most of us already know that all wars are bankers' wars. I share this to remember the Australian spirit, personified by the Anzacs, also the spirit of the First Nations people and what they've endured to be standing here with their ancestors today. I share this to remind us not just of the spirit and what's possible to bring forth for humanity, but also the resilience of the human spirit. This is the people's revolution. The question is, will you bring forth and embody that commitment to freedom and what's truly possible for us individually and collectively? I was speaking to my brother Sasha Stone this week, and he wanted to share this with you. Please understand that the reason why Australia is bearing the brunt of this totalitarian dictatorship that is rolling out, the reason why we, as Australians and many of the Five Eyes countries, is that we have got what it takes. No, that's good, man. I'll just read it. Thank you. So the reason why we, as Australians, is that we have got what it takes. That is all we really need to know about this. We have allowed ourselves to become stupefied and liberalised, pacified through privilege of she'll be right, mate. However, on a soul family level, we have got the true grit. That's why we are the ones at the front end who are at the tip of the spear that will pierce through this veil. That is the bottom line about what's going on. So knowing that and being awake to that, step into that flame. Kick your door open and walk out to stake your claim on behalf of our fellow countrymen and human beings. As our sister Yarrika said, we stand on the shoulders of giants, people like Edward Teddy Sheehan. I will leave you with this quote from Peter Buffett. We are stronger than we think we are. We have courage that we do not recognise until we need it. We are equal to challenges that we haven't even imagined yet. Stay human, save the planet, raise the consciousness. There is no fate but what we make. Much love.
Thank you, Paul. Our next guest, I'm sure you're all familiar with. Please welcome Alona Lan, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi everyone, welcome. Great to see so many people here. So thank you for coming. My name is Alona Lan. I'm a natural health advocate, freedom of choice ambassador, political candidate for the Informed Medical Options Party, and I'm a mum. As a heads up, they call me the pocket rocket. I've been down in the trenches with the mums and dads of Australia. I've hit rock bottom. I've had to wake up, I've had to research, I've had to stand my ground. And what I've done out of that is I've created and helped support people around Australia. I've organised rallies, some of the rallies here in Brisbane. I've set up community homeschooling groups up on the Sunshine Coast. And basically, I have been there for so many people for more than 5 years now. My journey started, or should I say, was a big, huge awakening with the hepatitis B vaccine. Many years ago, I went in for a pap smear. I had a series of 3 hepatitis B vaccines, and I ended up covered in eczema, autoimmune issues, and severe allergies. The next wake-up call was when I was pregnant, and the midwives wanted me to sign a form to inject that very vaccine into my baby. That was intimidation, coercion. The bullying that came with that was out of control. And that was the beginning of my biggest wake-up call. With the announcement of no jab, no pain, no jab, no play, I was enraged, I was livid. And I rang around and I said, do people care whether or not people are unvaccinated? And the answer was no. The media and the government have caused division, segregation. They've endorsed and enforced segregation and bullying, blackmail, name calling and financial bribery, and that is so unacceptable. I just want to point out the protesters that were here early, God bless them, hey? They gave us a bit of a stir and a bit of a run for our money. I actually spoke to one, so many of you may have seen me speak to one of the masked young fellas, and I said, mate, you're young, you don't know. You know, you don't know what we know. You have to start researching. You have to start reading. Do you know what? I do this to protect your future. I'm doing this to protect your children. And I'm standing up for your rights. That's why I'm here today. I said to him, mate, don't you realise they want to inject mutated, modified, lab-grown disease into everyone around Australia. Are you not aware of that? He goes, oh. I go, I am standing here to protect your right to choose. And here you are, with no knowledge at all, making a stand against something that you have no idea about. How dare you? And he hung his head. At the end of the day, he actually said to me, we should all be united. I said, exactly, mate, and that's why I'm here today. So I just want to point out, and you know, on the way here, there has been a bit of a family sacrifice for me, and I just want to point that out. You know, I love my family, and I'm doing this for my family, and some days I'm so torn because I've got a beautiful daughter down there that just wants her mummy. But at the end of the day, I go, if I don't do this, and if we don't protect our future, then we don't have a future. So I'm doing it for her. And the irony of that is, if there's a conflict there. So I just want everyone out there that is standing up and making a stand to pat yourself on the back. The sacrifices that everyone is making is just amazing. And it is time for change. I was going to say, thank you. I was going to say, look, everyone's pretty much said it for me, yeah? I mean, the amazing speakers, the information, and I have to say I agree with everything that they've said. And so I'm so proud of the other true speakers and seekers, and we need more of those. And imagine, just imagine, if everyone stood up and spoke their truth, if everyone got out there and went, you know what? We can make change and we can do it together. Imagine how empowered we're all going to be. It's an amazing journey. I just quickly wanted to throw in some figures. The Australian government budget that they announced a few days ago, there was $1.165 billion dedicated to the COVID-19 vaccine and consumables. That's a lot of money. That means a lot of vaccines. That means a lot of coercion, intimidating, bullying, blackmail and bribery. So buckle up, people, because the ride's really just begun. So you need to give that information to everyone and say $1.165 billion. Australia is currently $1.2 trillion in debt. We are slaves. We are slaves to whoever owns us. And think about that. And that's why everyone needs to make a stand. So let's wrap it up. So, I'm here demanding freedom. I'm demanding full informed consent. I'm demanding an unvaccinated versus vaccinated study. Where is the proof? Show us the science. We want independent research and science. The time is now. Let's stand up and let's make them prove that this is a good thing for everyone. Injecting mutated modified lab-grown disease is not on, and it's not ethical. I say no to a COVID vaccine. You're all gonna say no. But what we are gonna say yes to is natural herd immunity. I want to hear you say it louder, yes to natural herd immunity. Yes. We are going to you are going to stand up and protect the right to choose, yeah? Yes. Are you going to stand up? Yes. Awesome, I am loving it. Are you powerful? Yes. Of course you're powerful. Everyone here is powerful. Everyone together, united, we feed off one another. We share our energy, and we grow and we build. And this is what we create. We create a future together, united. I've had the privilege recently of standing beside some amazing people. And some of those pictures are around here today. Take a good look. Make some decisions and decide your future. The time is now. We can't let it go because it's a slippery slope we're on, and that $1.165 billion is a scary agenda. So stand up, guys. Thank you very much, and I'm going to say vote one health choice. Simone, natural health advocate. Look me up.
Alright guys, I know we started really late. We've only got a few quick things to go through and we're done. I'm going to go for a walk with some drums and megaphones. If you want to join me, that's cool too. Guys, I do feel like we're in a bit of a lull at the moment. There isn't much happening in Queensland at the moment in terms of extra control measures being enforced. But please, do not be led into a false sense of security and become complacent. Look at Victoria. Look at the true statistics of COVID-19. SARS-CoV-2, a virus which has not yet been proved to exist through purification and isolation. I want to clarify something. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm saying it has not been proved to exist through purification and isolation. A virus which has claimed less lives than the seasonal flu. A virus which over 99.9% of people who are diagnosed with recover well and they recover quickly. A virus which has been diagnosed with a test which was stated by the inventor to not be used to diagnose infectious disease with. A virus which, when even looking at the supposed death cases, the majority of the time is only taking the lives of the elderly in aged care facilities with multiple underlying pre-existing serious health conditions. A virus which doctors don't even have to test you for to be able to diagnose you as a positive case or claim it as a cause of your death. The whole thing stinks to high heaven, and we all know it is a ploy to create fear through the mainstream media, which they are hoping will persuade us to accept over-the-top control methods and therefore accept our own demise. But we don't need to get into that again. The solution: become less reliant on their system and more reliant on each other. Speak to your neighbours and grow your community. Grow your own food and trade with those near you. Build relationships with others and start accepting these people into your life in a more wholesome way. We are all brothers and sisters. Be prepared for the worst, but live for the best. Guys, we are the solution, Make no mistake about it, we are the 99%. Let's have a jam. Hey, Paul. Body.
Okay, you'll all know this song from last couple of times. We are the 99%. So to the tune of Should Be Coming Round the Mountain.
Just get the drummer sorted. We need a bigger stage, Trudy.
Ready? Ready. A 1, a 2, a 3. Well, you're never gonna make us wear a mask. No, you're never gonna make us wear a mask. No, you're never gonna make us. You're never gonna make us. You're never gonna make us wear a mask. We are the 99%. Sing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 90. We are the 90. Singing we are the 99%. You can stick your coronavirus up your. You can stick your coronavirus up your. You can stick your coronavirus. Stick your coronavirus. You can stick your coronavirus up your. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 90. We are the 90. Singing we are the 99%. Next verse. You can stick your poison vaccine up your. You can stick your poison vaccine up your. You can stick your poison vaccine. Stick your poison vaccine. Stick your poison vaccine up your. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 90. We are the 90. Singing we are the 99%. When you can stick your 5G towers up your. You can stick your 5G towers up your. You can stick your 5G towers. Stick your 5G towers. You can stick them 5G towers right up. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 99%. Yes we are. Singing we are the 90. We are stick your new world order up your ass. You can stick your new world order. Stick your new world order. Stick your new world order up your ass. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 99%. Singing we are the 90. We are 90. We are 99%. Let's slow down now. Well, I'd rather be a human than a slave. Well, I'd rather be a human than a slave. Well, I'd rather be